Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for what you need to know about IBM Cognos Analytics. I am Erin Dunmeyer, and I'm the Business Intelligence Practice Director here at John Daniel Associates. John Daniel has been implementing business intelligence solutions for 20 years, providing strategy, vision, and execution of custom solutions in areas of data warehousing, business analytics, budget and forecasting solutions, and customized applications. We are based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but service clients nationally. Today's agenda is around Cognos Analytics. The general position of Cognos Analytics, we're going to go over the portal, the content as an end user. That content is going to be content created from different studios in Cognos 10 and brought over to Cognos Analytics, and also content newly created in Cognos Analytics. We'll also talk about the new dashboarding and authoring tools in Cognos Analytics and touch on data modules. Cognos Analytics is version 11 of Cognos BI. This is an upgrade, not a migration. Please do not equate this to what Series 7 to Cognos 8 was. It is much simpler than that. The process for upgrading is similar to what you may have experienced during your previous couple of upgrades, such as 10.1 to 10.2. The process is very similar. There is no content in the Cognos 10 environment that does not migrate to Cognos 11. Some major differences between 10 and 11 are the new portal. Cognos Connection will be replaced by the Cognos Analytics portal. A new report authoring tool is integrated into the Cognos Analytics portal. This authoring tool replaces Workspace Advanced and Report Studio. All other legacy studios can be made accessible through the Cognos Analytics portal. Framework Manager, Transformer, Metric Server, those all integrate with Cognos Analytics. Also, in the Cognos Analytics portal, reports can be set up for interactivity for end users. That's a really cool feature. We'll be looking at that today. A new dashboarding tool uses visualizations to make dashboards easy to build and incredibly insightful. And there's new technology for uploading files integrated into the portal, and there is also a new web-based modeling tool, which is also integrated. We'll go over each of these things today. We are going to start with, if I can get PowerPoint out of here, we're going to start with the portal. You're all used to Cognos Connection and what it looks like with public folders and My Folders, and then you have the launch menu where you access the different studios. So now let's hop over to Cognos Analytics. And this is what the new portal looks like. You're going to have a menu bar on the left-hand side, and this menu bar stays static through a lot of places that you navigate within the Cognos Analytics portal. And then you have a banner up here, the Welcome banner, and this also will stay static as you navigate through the Cognos Analytics portal. Some of the buttons will change, but both of those will still be there regardless of where you navigate to. Let's go through what's available on these menus. So on the left-hand menu here, we have Team Content and My Content. This is equivalent to public folders, and My Content is the same as My Folders. So anything you have in public folders upgrading from 10 to 11 is going to come from public folders to Team Content, and My Folders will migrate to My Content. It will be in the same directory structure as it is in Cognos 10. These fly-up menus will go 3 levels deep before one of them collapses, and you can just keep going. And you will see that there is no breadcrumb trail here in the narrow view. If you switch to the wide view, this is more similar to what you're used to in Cognos 10, where you have a breadcrumb trail up here, and you have to switch to the wide view to create new folders, and this is the easiest view to use if you're copying and moving content within team content. So I'm going to hop back here. There is a recent menu beneath My Content and Team Content. This is going to be anything you've recently been in. And there's also a search. This search in Cognos 11 is fully indexed. In previous versions, prior to 11, you had to create an indexing task and make sure it was scheduled and monitor that it was running properly. You don't have to do that here in Cognos 11. Everything is indexed the minute that it is added to the content store. There's some really cool features about this search. It is a full text search, so you start typing and it is going to bring back your text anywhere that it can be found. It doesn't have to be at the beginning. You don't have to have wildcards, asterisks, or percent symbols to get something when it's not at the beginning of the string. And if it's a search that you use often, you can save it. And then you can come back and access your saved searches and have available to you. That way you don't have to type them in every time. You just have them available to you, and you can click on them and go from there. You can also filter the results of the search. So say I only want reports. I'm going to check reports here, and it's going to take out any packages, any dashboards, anything that's not a report. You can also filter by the date modified. To get any of the menus that you're looking at here from the left-hand side to snap back into the menu bar, you just click on it again and it goes away. Down here, new is equivalent to launch from Cognos 10. So in Cognos Analytics, we have the reporting tool. You can create a new report. This reporting tool replaces Workspace Advanced and Report Studio. We'll take a closer look at the reporting tool and the capabilities of it further into the demo. You can create a new dashboard. This does not have an equivalent from Cognos 10. It's not the same as Workspace Advanced, Workspace. It's not the same as Workspace. So Workspace is still considered a legacy tool and is still available through the other menu. So all companion applications, all of these legacy studios, are still available from the new menu when you select other, and Workspace is here because it doesn't have an equivalent in Cognos Analytics. The new dashboarding tool is a completely new feature set. And then your other option here is data module. This is how you launch and start to create a model that is with the new web-based modeling tool. And it's called a data module here in Cognos Analytics. You'll notice these little teal buttons next to menu items throughout the tool. There's one over here too. These are hints about what this menu item does. If you click on it, it's going to tell you some information about this menu button. Click New to create a new report, dashboard, or data module. These are very helpful when you're new to Cognos Analytics and can be turned on and off from your preferences, which is up here. These preferences are very similar to what they were in Cognos 10. You can choose to show hidden entries or not, your default time zone, product language, etc. Personal options, you can set your email, and if you hit advanced, it takes you back to what the personal tab looked like in Cognos 10. Again, if I want this menu to now go away, I can just click on where it came from, and it'll pop back in there. Notifications are going to be, when I subscribe to something, a note that tells me that my subscription is ready. A subscription is a personal schedule, so if there's anything that is different from a group schedule, a department schedule that is set by you and not, say, an administrator, you can subscribe to reports and set a personal schedule and be notified of them here. You can also have them emailed directly to you with subscriptions. Manage is going to be similar to Cognos Administration. There are a few integrated items here. Everything above Administration Console is integrated into Cognos Analytics portal, and these are new administrative functions that are integrated. The complete Administration Console is not integrated into Cognos Analytics yet. So when you launch the Administration Console, it will take you back to the same Cognos Administration that you're used to seeing with 10.2.2. And it will function and behave the exact same way. In a future release, that functionality will all be integrated into the portal, but it is not yet. So let's go across the top banner. Over here on IBM Analytics, if you click on About, it's going to tell you the version of your installation. If you click on Help, it's going to take you to online help tools and user guides. The Welcome menu, because we don't have anything open yet, our only option here is Welcome. As we open reports and dashboards, whether we have them open in the authoring tool or in the viewer, to navigate between them, we can have a whole bunch open, and we can drop down our Welcome menu and navigate between them and see what we have open. We can also close them from there. You'll see that a little further into the demo. Here we have a More button, and this More button will be on most of the screens that you will navigate through in the Analytics portal, and the different options available through the More button will change depending on your location within the portal. Right now, our only option is Set as Home. So, you know, when you're in the viewer, when you're in the portal, whatever you're looking at, you can set as Home. And then your name over here, this is very similar to what was my area from Cognos 10.2.2. The new options, so my inbox and my watch items are legacy items from Cognos 10 that are carried over here so that no functionality is lost between the versions. But my subscriptions is the new personal scheduling options. This will show me any personal schedules that I have set up. In Cognos 10, there was a My Schedules option. This replaces that. We looked at my preferences, and then you have the option of signing out here. And we have my inbox and my watch items, which I indicated are legacy items carried over from Cognos 10, so no functionality is lost. So let's look at content. How do I run a report? How do I get to the properties of a report? On every item, so the Actions column is now gone. That was in public folders, clear to the right, and that's where you had buttons like Set Properties, run as or run with options, view the output versions of, you set a schedule. All of those buttons were available in the actions column. You now have a much more streamlined content navigation, looking at only names of content and folders. And each of these entries has a More button. It's this triple ellipsis when you scroll over the item to the right. And when you click More, you're going to see a lot of those same options that you saw in the actions column. So anything that is available and is applicable to this entry is going to be available from this More button. Run as is the same as run with options. Edit report will take us into the authoring mode and is the same as opening Report Studio or Workspace Advanced. View versions, that's going to be the output versions if there's any saved copies of a report. Properties, and we're going to take a look at properties once I get through this list. Properties are going to be very similar as they were in Cognos 10. You can take ownership of the item, copy or move it, or delete it. So let's take a look at the properties of this item. And here we have the same tabs that we had in Cognos 10, except now you will see this additional Schedule tab. And we did not see Schedule from the options here. There's no Schedule here. The Schedule is now within the properties on a specific report, and these Schedule options are going to look exactly like they did in Cognos 10. You know, you hit New, and you can have multiple schedules on a report and set up any of these options the same way that you would in Cognos 10. I'm going to go ahead and hit Cancel on that. Back to Report. Here we can specify the default format. We can specify PDF options. All of the options that were available in Cognos 10 are still here. They may be in a different location, but you can still get to everything. So for current reports that were created in Cognos Analytics, you're going to have this Edit Report option. That will open in the authoring tool. For anything that is legacy content, this is content that was created in Cognos 10.2.2 in Query Studio and was brought over to Cognos 11. You're going to have an option to convert to report, and this will take it and convert it into, it will take the queries and convert it into a report within the authoring tool. So it takes it out of Query Studio. It does not overwrite my query that I have here. It will it will migrate the queries into the authoring tool, and then you can save it as something else. The conversion is very clean. I've converted several things and was very pleased with the conversion of the queries and the data items. Okay, so that's it for navigation. Let's go ahead and look at some of our content examples. So this is content that was created in Query Studio in Cognos 10. If I just click on it, the default action is to open another tab and launch Query Studio. And this looks exactly as it did in Cognos 10. So this is Cognos 10.2.2 on the right, and Cognos Analytics on the left. As you can see, it is identical. And this, again, was not recreated in Cognos Analytics. It was migrated through an upgrade. And the only thing of note here is that in Cognos 10, Query Studio opens in the same window. In Cognos Analytics, it opens another window or tab, And all legacy content will do that. It will open in a new window or tab for legacy content. Anything that is integrated into the portal will open in the same window. So a web-based model, a dashboard, anything that is migrated to the new authoring tool, that will open in this same window. So we looked at Query Studio. This is what Analysis Studio looks like. It opens another window. And I'm not going to show you this one in Cognos 10. If you guys are familiar with Analysis Studio, you will know that this is exactly what it looks like in Cognos 10. And it will behave the same exact way in Cognos Analytics. All functionality that was in Cognos 10 is here in Analysis Studio. Query Studio and Analysis Studio have not been changed at all between Cognos 10 and Cognos Analytics. Eventually, the functionality of Query and Analysis Studio will be worked into the new authoring tool, and Query and Analysis Studio will go away. But that's a future version, and that deprecation has not been released yet. Workspace Advanced. Let's take a look at this. So Workspace Advanced is replaced by the new authoring tool. So if we open our Workspace Advanced example, on the right is the example in Cognos 10. On the left is the example in Cognos Analytics. If we open it, it looks exactly the same, but it did not open a separate window. I cannot get to Workspace Advanced as it was as a studio here in Cognos Analytics. It doesn't exist anymore, and all functionality that was in Workspace Advanced is worked into the new reporting tool. So if I wanted to modify this, that is absolutely possible. I would just have to toggle into edit mode, and now I'm in the reporting tool and can edit this. And when I did that, it opened another session from my welcome banner. This second one, I'm in the authoring tool. It is editable. This last one that I still have open is just in the viewer. I'm going to go ahead and leave that open. One thing I want to be of note is that while you're navigating through the viewer, you still have this entire menu available to you on the left. So I ran a report. These are the results of my report. But I can still go and run another report. And from my welcome banner, I have all of the reports I've run, and I can navigate between them. So this is a little different than Cognos 10 in that if you ran a report in Cognos 10, it would take the viewer, IBM Cognos viewer, would take over the window, and you would have to hit that return arrow to go back to public folders and run something else. So, you know, this is nice to be able to leave what you've run open and still navigate to other content. This is a Report Studio example that was created in Cognos 10.2.2 and upgraded to Cognos Analytics. The prompt page looks the same here as it did in 10.2.2. That was my prompt page. This is the first page of my layout. I'm going to go ahead and click Billings Department Store. It is a drill through, and the drill through shows up on a separate tab because it is configured to open in a new window through the report spec. But as you can see, all of that functionality upgraded fine. It still works. So that is what a Report Studio example looks like in Cognos Analytics. And here we have a couple reports open. I can navigate between them without closing them. If I do want to close them, I can. All I need to do is click this Remove button from the drop-down on my Welcome menu. Now, I want to show that here, this is a report that was upgraded from Cognos 10.2.2. There is no interactivity. What that means is interactivity on a report is a feature in the new Cognos Analytics portal. Anything that's upgraded from 10.2.2 will not automatically have the interactivity turned on. It's a report property within the report spec to allow the interactivity. And so that all functionality behaves the way that it did in 10.2.2, any upgraded content, reports, and Workspace Advanced content coming from 10.2.2, or any version prior to 11, I should say, will have the interactivity turned off by default. And administrators or report authors can go turn that on, but any new, and I guess I can go right over here to my content. So I'm going to open this reporting example. This was created in Cognos Analytics. Any new content that is created in Cognos Analytics by default has the interactivity turned on. And this is what the interactivity looks like. So I created a very simple report here, and these are from the BI/Cognos Analytics samples that come with Cognos. I created a simple report that has order year, product line, and revenue. I can easily, and I am not in edit mode, I am still in consumer mode, so I've run the report and I'm looking at it. But I don't know who created this. Look at these order years. They're all over the place. I want to sort them in ascending order. Okay, so I've done that. Oh, you know what? I think it'll be better if I group them. So now I have a grouping. I'm actually changing the output of my report, and you know what? Outdoor protection is of no interest to me, so I'm going to exclude it. It has been removed not only from my display, but from my totals. So my totals have changed to reflect that outdoor protection is filtered out. And if I want to save this, I can. It will not overwrite the original. My only option is save as. So say I take a report that somebody else created and I go through the same interactivity steps all the time. I can save it as something else in my own version. And if I need to do something more advanced with this report than just grouping, sorting, filtering, the things that are available through interactivity, I can just toggle over to edit mode. And again, that is if I have the capabilities to be in the authoring mode. But here in the authoring mode, I can do anything I could have done in Workspace Advanced or Report Studio. So before we get into more information about reporting, I'm going to hop over and show you the example of the dashboard. So this dashboarding tool is new to Cognos Analytics. It provides a way to create visual representations of data such as graphs, charts, plots, tables, or maps. It uses the same visualization engine as Watson Analytics. It is a guided experience for quick and easy dashboard creation. What I want to say about the guided experience is there are not a ton of properties that are available for adjustment. It is guided for less experienced users and for simplicity. If you want a chart with a lot of control about how that chart looks, the authoring tool is the place to create it. Here in the dashboard, data is connected and selections flow through all related data within the dashboard. So this dashboard, again, was created from the sample data. I'm going to filter on 2010. And it appears my pointer has stopped working. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to hit refresh. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to click on 2010. As you can see, every other chart within the dashboard has updated to reflect that I have 2010 selected. Mountaineering equipment dropped out of my product line list, the revenue updated, and both bar charts updated. So now I'm going to filter on outdoor protection. This behaves as an and, 2010 and outdoor protection. This is the result set of that. These are multi-selects. I can hit Control and also select camping equipment. Everything is reflected. And if I hover over and click on the filter icon on any one of these charts, I can see the filters that are applied to this revenue amount. This is order year 2010 and product lines outdoor protection and camping equipment. So over here, I'm going to select United States and then select Keep. It's going to filter out all other countries. If I want to know the specific value of any one of these, I click on it and I can see the value. If I click off of the bar, it removes that filter that I created by clicking on it. And if I come up here, I can remove my United States filter and bring all the countries back. Let's leave that on United States. I'm going to very quickly toggle into edit mode. And I'm going to change this to a pie chart. And I'm going to snap it back in there and toggle back out of edit mode. So now I'm back in my dashboard, and I can click around just like I did before. And do you see how easy that was to change from a bar chart to a pie chart? Also, one thing of note here in edit mode is I have one tab on my dashboard right now. I can create another tab and put anything I want on it, and you can have multiple tabs in a dashboard. I just want to point that out. So the dashboarding tool uses data modules as a source. You cannot use any packages that you brought from Cognos 10. You have to create a new data module, which is within this web-based modeling tool here in Cognos Analytics. And you can use the same data that you have in packages to create a data module, but we'll go over that in a minute. We are going to hop back over to authoring. So I'm going to go back to my welcome screen. There's a couple of different ways to enter the authoring mode to access reporting. You can find an entry, click the More, and click Edit Report. That will take you into the authoring mode for that specific report. You can also hit New Report from this left-hand menu. When you do hit New Report, you have to select your package. And your report template. This is the same layout that you're used to seeing in Report Studio by default. I'm going to toggle back to my portal, and I am going to open the report we brought from Cognos 10 in the authoring tool. So very simply, we're looking at the layout when we enter here, and you can get to everything that you could get to before in Report Studio. There is no functionality from Report Studio that is not available here. On the Data button, you can get to your source tree. This is going to be the same as your Insertable Objects pane. These are the data items within your queries. Also in the Insertable Objects pane, here you have a Toolbox button. This will take you to your Toolbox items, and these are grouped to easily find them. There's also a really nice search feature up here so that if you're looking for something like a value prompt and I don't know which grouping it's under, I can just start typing value prompt or even just prompt, and it'll bring me back all prompt objects, and I can select which one I need. This navigate wheel is similar to what you're used to with the Explorer bar. So on the Explorer bar, we had the Page Explorer, the Query Explorer, and the Condition Explorer. You have all of those available from this Navigate button. And you can get to the same things as you could in Report Studio. You click on the report pages, here are your pages, and the same objects are available from your toolbox. This is all context specific. So if we go to Queries, I'm going to click on a query. These are my data items and filters, same as we're used to seeing in Cognos 10. If I click on the toolbox, these toolbox items are specific to queries because that's where I'm at. So let's go back to the layout. And these menus behave the same as they do in the portal. If I want this menu to go away, I just, again, click on where I got it from, and it'll snap back into that bar. So across the banner here, again, we're on the layout, I have Save, Options, I have Undo, Redo, and Run. And when I hit Run, it's going to ask me what I want to run this as. The only option that is not here that was in Cognos 10 is the Excel 2002 format. That's going to be XLS. That's no longer an option. The Run Excel and the Run Excel data are both XLSX. With Run Excel, it runs with all formatting, colors, bold, size, you know, that type of thing. Run Excel data, it truly just extracts the data and dumps that to Excel. And then these run options are similar to what you had in Cognos 10. And if I keep going across the right here, I have some different page views. Page design, page preview, page structure. Page preview and page structure are familiar to any Report Studio users. The page preview is what we're looking at right now, where you're looking at the layout, but there's placeholders for the data items instead of actual content. Page structure is going to be the objects and the structure of them. This can prove useful when you've hidden an object and cannot find it. And then the page design is going to, page preview is going to be similar to Workspace Advanced. So if you're creating ad hoc queries and you're analyzing the data as you're doing it, you're going to probably want to use page preview. If you are creating a highly formatted report, what you would have used Report Studio for, you're going to want to use page design so that you don't have to wait for the actual result set to return every time you make a change. This button is Show Properties. This is going to show you the properties for the item that you're on within the layout. We still have the Select Ancestor button here. One difference with the properties is instead of report options from the File menu in Report Studio, your report properties are now part of the properties pane, and the report is the top-level ancestor in your ancestry tree. And this is where you can set burst options. This is where you toggle the interactivity, whether it's on or off in a report, set PDF options for the entire report, etc. Okay, so let's go back to our page. More, here is our lock. There's options about the authoring tool, conditional styles, clear all parameters. And then if you click on your name, these are the same options that are available in the portal. Now, one thing that you may not have seen yet is the toolbars. Where are the toolbars? Well, the toolbars are context sensitive. That means that they will appear depending on what you have selected in the layout, and they only display the buttons that are relevant to what you have selected. I have a column heading selected right now. These are the functions that I can apply to this column heading. If I control-click two column headings, the toolbar reappears with only the options available for both of these column headings. And this is for anything in the layout that the toolbar will appear depending on what you have selected. All Report Studio functionality is still available. It is now more intuitive. It's easier to find. It's less confusing. It's a graduated interface. It's easier to use. I'm going to hop back over here to my new. So this is new. I'm creating this from a sample. I'm going to set this to page preview. And I just want to show you very simply, you know, how this puts you in mind of Query Studio and Workspace Advanced. I dropped a product line in here. Here are my product lines. If I go to order details, I can drop revenue in here, and here's my revenue. And then I want to sort this in descending and, you know, maybe group by year, which is on the header, order year. So I can put order year in here and group by that. So very simply, I can pull together a query and analyze some data the same way I could in Query Studio and Workspace Advanced. I don't want you to think that you'll be stuck in page design mode the entire time that you're working within the authoring tool. So now I want to show you data modules. We're going to go back to our welcome screen, and I'm going to open up the data module that was used to create the package. Yes. The data module that was used to create the dashboard we looked at earlier. That dashboard was really easy and simple to use. Well, so is this data module. This data module has tables from the GoCells database. These are all the tables available in the GoCells schema in the sample database. And these are the tables that are brought into the model. And then this is how they're connected. You can hover over them. It tells you information about the relationship. You can toggle on cardinality, and it will show you that. You can actually go into the properties here and look at the relationships. So I have branch selected. It's related to country. It's related to order header. And then I have an option to create a new relationship. So this is what a data model looks like. Very easily, I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to create the same one that we're looking at here. Okay, so I'm going to create this from a data server, which is a database. Here's my Great Outdoor Sales database. I want the Go Sales schema from the database, and I'm just going to hit Start over here. Here's all the tables available. We just looked at that. I am going to grab several tables. So I control-clicked the tables, and I'm going to drag them over to my data module. By default, because they have keys on them with similar names, all these relationships are created. And I'm okay with those relationships. So I'm not going to modify the relationships. We're going to leave those there. Now, as you can see, this country table has a country in many different languages. I really only need the English. So even though I pulled over the entire table, I can decide what I want to keep from the table. And here on the order header, we're going to make a custom calculation. So I want a column that is just the order year. I have the full order date, but I just want the year. Now, the functions that are available in this modeling tool are different than Cognos functions that you're used to in Report Studio. Some of them are the same, some of them are different. There is a modeling user guide that details all of the functions available. So I'm going to put order date up there, validate it, and I'm going to click OK. So now I have an order year on my order header. And then on order details, we're going to create one more custom calculation because revenue is not in this table. It is calculated. It is unit sell price times quantity. I'm going to click OK. Now, when I create a measure custom calculation, it is important to check on the properties. Make sure that the usage is set to measure so that when I drop it into dashboards or into a report that I'm creating, the aggregation is working properly and things total. And I want the aggregate set to total. So now I have a nice little data module. I am going to save it. Save as, I'm going to put it in my data modules folder, call it Go Sales 2. And now I'm going to go create a new dashboard from it, just to show you how simple it is to create a dashboard. I have to select my source. I want to use my new data module, Go Sales 2. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff in this model that, excuse me, there's a lot of stuff in this model that should be cleaned up if it were live production. You know, there's a lot of things in different languages that we don't need here. But for the sake of getting to this quickly, we're just going to pull over product line. And then, so I'm recreating the dashboard that you saw earlier. Product type, and we want revenue. I control-click revenue and product type, and I drop it here. It automatically creates a bar chart. And on my order header, we created this order year data item. Now, and then we had an overall revenue. So I want you to note that 5 minutes ago, all I had was a database connection. and I created a data module very simply by dragging 8 tables into my data module. They connected automatically. I created a couple custom calculations, including this revenue and this order year data item. And then I came over here to create a new dashboard, and within a few minutes, and we all know demo data is pretty clean, so yes, sometimes you have to do a little analysis, and yes, sometimes you have to create a couple of complicated calculations, but very simply, I'm able to create a really useful dashboard. Now, I know we're running short on time, but I want to show you one last thing. Upload files here, and let's go to my desktop, Cognos Analytics. So let's take a look at this on my desktop. Documents, Cognos Analytics. So we have an Excel file here called Department Directors. This is information that relates to our sample data, but this is not in the sample data. This is who the director is of each sales department. So this is what it looks like. I have a flat file. I'm going to upload it to the server. I've already uploaded this file, so it's asking me if I want to replace it. I'm going to click OK. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my Go Sales 2 dashboard. I want to add an uploaded file. Here's my department directors. I select it over here, click Done. It brings it in as another source for my data module, and I want this whole thing. Okay, you can see that it adds it over here, but it's not connected to anything. So I have to create a relationship. I want to connect this to order method. So this is my Excel spreadsheet. This is the order method table from the Go Sales database, and the preview window comes up and shows you a preview of each table. Again, Excel spreadsheet on the left, database table on the right. You select the items that you want to connect, and you click OK. It creates the relationship. I have to navigate back to this. It's locked up again. It creates the relationship, and let's go back to our dashboard. I'm going to toggle into edit mode, pull over my Go Sales 2 model, and here I'm going to drop director in. So now I can filter on director, and it's connected to my data from my database. I was able to connect my flat file information to the database and filter on it very easily. So I just wanted to show you how that worked. That is it for the demo today. It's 1:56. If anybody needs to hop off, please do. But I'm going to be available for questions for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, you know, whatever is needed here. If anybody has questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat now. If you have any questions following up from this, you can email me at ernd@johndaniel.com. The first question we have is, what are the licensing implications for combining Report Studio and Workspace Advanced? There was a new licensing structure as of 2015 for Cognos, and it includes terms like analytic users, analytic explorers. Let me see if I can find, nope, it's under licensing here. So those license roles are the same. How do you restrict? Here we go, Cognos Analytics. These licensing roles are the same between Cognos 10.2.2, and these were rolled out for 10.2.2, and Cognos Analytics. We have Analytics Explorer and Analytics User. This Analytics User is one of the lowest licenses available for Cognos. It combines consumers, authors, and mobile users, and this Analytic User has access to Report Studio, Workspace Advanced, Workspace. If you're on these license roles in Cognos 10, it's going to translate right over to Cognos Analytics. If you have not migrated to these license roles yet, you should certainly do so the next time you renew support. Security integration. That goes again to so somebody's asking about security integration. How does security integration work? This is going to behave the same way content-wise as Cognos 10. If you look at any entry in here and go to properties, there's a permissions. So you're still going to have the same roles and groups that you had in Cognos 10. That will translate over with the upgrade. And if people have access to certain folders or directories within your content, that's all going to translate over with the upgrade. And it can also be set up here in Cognos Analytics the same way that it could in Cognos 10. You know, so say you have a folder at the top level in team content for each department within your organization, you can certainly restrict that via permissions with visibility the same way that it was done in 10. Now, there's two sides to security. There's permissions, so content, whether somebody can see something or not see it, and then there's capabilities. And this is whether somebody can do something or not do it. And there are options to allow people to run reports only, to allow them into the web-based modeling tool, to create data modules, to allow them to create dashboards. All of those are specific capabilities. The same way that you could set which studios people had access to in Cognos 10, you can do that here with Cognos Analytics, specify which capabilities each user has access to. Next question, is there any new functionality for date prompts? It would be nice not to have to write JavaScript to modify default dates. There is no new functionality for date prompts, but you don't necessarily have to write JavaScript to take care of that. You know, there are other ways to handle that. I'm assuming that you mean when you schedule something and if it has a specific date saved in the report view, it doesn't get refreshed when that dynamic date, say, changes. You know, that gets saved in the report view. Chris, I'll follow up with you on that one. There are ways that you can do that to make it dynamic. There's ways that there's solutions that we've done in Report Studio, and that would apply to Cognos Analytics. We have bursted reports at clients, and we're doing that translation inside the report, and it can also be done in a data warehouse if you have one. So there's different options there, but no, Cognos Analytics doesn't tackle that in any way. JavaScript will still work the same way in Cognos Analytics that it did in Cognos 10.2. So any JavaScript you have in reports does upgrade and translate perfectly fine. When you load a spreadsheet into the data model, does that data get stored into the meta layer, or does it have to be reloaded again? It does not have to be reloaded again. It is stored, and it is stored in the installation directory of Cognos. So it gets stored on the server. Each user by default, I think, has 500 MB. Content maybe? No, there's somewhere here that, configuration. Okay, so size limit of upload per data. So by default, there's 100 MB on one upload, and there's a 500 MB limit per user. Now, these can absolutely be adjusted to your by your administrator to whatever you want them to be, and these are, so whatever is uploaded is stored in Apache Parquet files in the installation directory on the Cognos server. It's a columnar format that comes from the Hadoop world. So that kind of gives you an idea of where IBM is going. It's very fast retrieving the data when reporting from it, and it is stored there. However, there is no automatic update to it. So say the data in your spreadsheet on your PC is updated, or you download or retrieve from a network share updated data, you would have to upload that updated data to the server again. But if you're uploading something and it remains fairly static, you don't need to continue to update it or upload it every time you want to use it. Another question, do the 10.2 packages from Framework need to be completely rewritten in 11, or will they convert into the new data module? As of right now, there is no conversion tool, and I will also tell you that as of right now, there is not a necessity to migrate them or to completely rewrite them. So they can be absolutely used exactly as they are. These packages, samples, models, these are the BI samples that were installed in version 10.2.1, and they were upgraded to version 10.2.2 and then upgraded to 10.2 and then to 11.0.2, what you're seeing here. And they function exactly the same. I can write a report from this. And have access to everything that is in this package. The only reason that you would need to make it a data module is if you have to make a dashboard off of it. So the only thing you can't do with a package is create a dashboard from it. The only thing a dashboard can be created from is a data module, and a data module only can be created from, are you following all this? Data servers and upload files and other data modules. A data server, this is going to be very similar to a data source of, what you set up in Cognos 10 administration. It's a connection back to a database, but a data server is different because it requires a JDBC connection. It no longer will use, test, even consider compatible query mode. Data servers only use dynamic query mode. So the JDBC drivers have to be set up, and you can connect to the same databases. If I click on this, I guess I want manage data servers. If I do a new one here, you can see that there are a ton of different types of data servers that you can create. You just have to have the JDBC drivers installed to be able to connect to those databases. When you load a spreadsheet into the data model, does the data get stored into the meta layer, or does it have to be reloaded again? We did go over that one. Okay, to piggyback on the framework question, would we continue to use the Cognos 10 Framework Manager if we need to make changes to our models after upgrading to 11? Yes, you would continue to use Framework Manager. There is still a ton of functionality in Framework Manager that is not yet built into the web-based modeling tool. I expect that at some point, with each iteration in each version release, there's going to be more functionality built into the web-based tool. But at this point, that web-based modeling tool is for end users to easily, quickly create a data model that they can use for either reporting or dashboards. But the complexities of the functionality in Framework Manager, that's not something that at this time is built into the web-based modeling tool or IBM wants to expose end users to. So things like parameter maps, row-level security, you can do unions in Framework Manager. You can't do unions in the web-based modeling tool at this point. If you have any kind of security going on in Framework Manager, there are not options in the web-based modeling tool to handle those types of things. So there's a lot of complexities and even determinants if you're doing things with determinants in Framework Manager. Those options are not available in the web-based modeling tool. So at this point, it's more of an end-user tool to create simple models to be able to write dashboards or report content. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, at this time, it is 10 after 2, and there doesn't seem to be any other questions coming in. Again, if you think of anything that you would like to know or learn more about, please contact me at ernd@johndaniel.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has, and have a great day. Thank you.